Okay, I have a cool surprise for you guys. I actually went ahead and designed some cool landing pages using Bootstrap that you can use inside of your Rails project to make your site look really nice really quickly. Now, I know this is a Rails class and it's not an HTML and CSS class, so if you want to get further into that and really understand how you can design your pages to look exactly how you want them to look, we have other classes for that, and that's not what we're going to cover here. But we will get into it a little bit because it is important to how Rails works. We're going to learn about something called the asset pipeline as we set this up. So go below and download the file bootstrap template.zip, and you can go ahead and unzip that. And inside this file, there's basically a few custom pages that I created. There's also an instructions.txt that I added in here, but we're going to follow along with this right now on our own. So I'm going to open this in Sublime Text. First of all, my project is right here. I don't need these files open right now. The first thing, let's put them side by side with each other. Here we go. The first thing is I created an application.html.erb for you. If I open this with Sublime Text, what you want to do is basically copy all of this and paste it into your application.html.erb. So you can just replace what you have here and save that. And you're also going to replace your home page. Oops, choose application, Sublime Text. Place your home page, and that's inside your views pages with what I have here. And your about page with Sublime Text. So basically replacing the HTML for all three of your pages. Now there's two additional things you have to do. I actually included this image here, which will end up being an image that we use in the application. You'll see that in a second. And that you actually want to put inside of your project under App, Assets, Images. And you can paste that in there. So that's the fourth change. And the final change is, well, actually, there's two more. One is take this pages.scss. Gotta keep opening it with Sublime Text. And this will actually put into our app, assets, style sheets, pages.scss. You can just paste the entire thing here. This is CSS code, basically. And the last change we have to make, you can close out this one. We don't need anything more here. But we actually have to go into our application.scss and add another line here. I'll just put two in. Import pages with a semicolon at the end. And what this is doing, basically, I created some custom styles that we're going to see on our homepage here. This is actually going to use that background image that we added, and it's going to pull it onto our homepage. And this is a CSS file. SCSS is a special kind of CSS file. If you're not familiar with CSS, don't worry too much about it. It's basically how you do styling inside of your application, how you make it look a certain way. And we have this pages one, which is where we put styles related to our home page or our about page. And then we need to import that into our application.scss. So the way that Rails styles works is it starts with this application.scss. That's the main one. And then you'll end up having a bunch of other smaller files. It'll be broken out into smaller files, so it's easier to organize. And then you have a line to import each one. So if you created a new file here, you can call it anything you want to, .scss. And then you can add a line 5 and import that, and a line 6 and a line 7, and so on and so forth. Oh, and by the way, this Bootstrap one, we don't have a file called bootstrap.scss, but this actually gets pulled from the gem that we installed before. So you can import also from gems when they're created, but those end up being kind of hidden. So it's not, inside here directly. It's hidden from your view because it's in the gem itself. And the image that we have is here. We actually end up using a little a Rails shortcut here for the image path. In Rails, you can call a function called image_path and then the name of the image or the name of anything really that's inside of app assets images, and it actually plugs that in with where it's going to go, which is where it is, which is very convenient, especially when you have this app live on Heroku or something like that. You don't have to hard code the actual path, because in some websites you never really know where your images actually are going to end up. And we also just replaced our application, the layout and the pages themselves. So let's run the app really quick and see if everything worked out according to plan. Open up my terminal, move into my desktop and OM Rails, and run my Rails app. Oh, and I ran Rails S, which is actually short for server. So you can use that shortcut if you don't want to type Rails server, but it's the same thing. Don't need Twitter. What I need to go to is localhost 3000. And there it is. Simple website with a navigation bar. This is Matan from the future here. I wanted to butt in quickly with a quick message. Now you may have noticed when you tried to set up Bootstrap on your computer, your navbar didn't show up quite the way it does in the video when I initially recorded it. And that's because Bootstrap actually updated some things since I initially recorded the video, so they've changed a few of the settings. You can see that by searching Bootstrap for alpha, and I think it was alpha 6 actually that broke it. There's a little bit about all the stages. That's because when you're in alpha mode, there's a lot of updates that happen, and it's hard to keep track of all of this. So here in particular, updated navbar. But you can read this on your own. I'll also walk you through the changes that you need to fix the navbar style, which are basically fairly easy. The first thing that you need to update is this navbar dark class, which is now navbar.inverse. And that will change the link colors back to what we expected. But there's still a second thing, which is that it's vertical, which we don't want it to be. So I believe the class there is navbar toggleable MD. Well, it stands for medium. That actually will tell it when you want it to break into a long view like that, medium. So if you don't actually ever want it to, you can always change it to small, and that'll break it when it gets smaller, maybe extra small even. Nope, extra small doesn't work. I would recommend sticking with medium or small. The rest of this stuff should stay the same. There may be one or two updates, but that's all that I think that we should talk about for now. So that goes to my home page, my about page. I didn't create a contact page, but you can actually go in and reset the link to the contact page. And we have this nice little thing. It's called a Jumbotron, and it actually pulls in the background image here, which resizes. The whole thing is responsive, by the way. There's a footer. The footer is inside your application.html.erb right here. This is the navigation bar that's created. You can go in and you can replace the link if you want to replace the text here. And like I said, this contact link is right here. So if you want to replace where it's going, you can put in the path there. And on my home page, this is where we have the top Jumbotron and then the containers, which contain these 3 columns. And I replaced the about page. So this is still a pretty simple page. But you can go ahead and pull that, and there's also a few other variations below that you can check out. So once you've done that, you'll have to commit your changes. So I'll do a git add a, git commit message, let's say import Bootstrap template. And then I'll push those changes to GitHub. There we go. Updated.